How's it going, everyone? College Lefty, and in this video I'm going to be going through 10 advanced hitting tips in MLB The Show 21. So let's go ahead and get right into it. This video is going to be basically a part 2 to the previous advanced hitting tip video. In this one we're going to focus on ranked seasons, and I'm going to talk about a few different things. Now, the first thing I'm going to mention is that these settings are entirely personal preference. I have been playing this way or with these kinds of settings since MLB The Show 16. When I first started playing this game, I implemented these settings into Road to the Show and tried to improve my hitting that way. Another thing you can do, of course, is hop into custom practice on Hall of Fame or Legend. You can track pitches with your PCI without even swinging, and then focus on swing timing once you've tracked pitches and you're able to move the PCI to the baseball. Okay, so we've already gone through a couple of tips already. With that said, one thing I wanted to mention, it's not necessarily a hitting tip, it's more of a kind of a mental tip when you're playing this game, and that's simply don't put too much thought into your opponent's record, right? Records have gotten messed up. I have 13 losses that I've received a blue screen in each and every one of them. I've been losing some of those games, but what I'm saying is records have been messed up. If you're playing an opponent with, a sub 500 win rate, then it doesn't mean that that's necessarily their exact record. With that said, in this first clip, we popped up with Mike Trout. I wanted to talk a little bit about some live series quirks, some active quirks versus threshold quirks. For example, Chipper Jones doesn't have any active quirks. All of his quirks, like Hitting Machine, Bomber, certain quirks that he has like that, as well as Walker, Pressure Cooker, I think he might even have Thief. Those quirks are not active quirks. They don't give you an in-game boost. They're focused on thresholds for certain attributes. Okay, now active quirks are players like Mike Trout with Unfazed, Acuna with Unfazed right here, night player, day player, those types of things. All right, so I wanted to clarify a few things there. And there are a lot of variables, a lot of little things that go into this game. And this game's not perfect, right? I know that I don't have all the widgets like SDS would have in order to create some of these scenarios, but we're going to try and explain some of the things that happen while we're playing and analyzing the feedback. Okay, so we already have a home run with Chipper Jones. We already have a home run with Ronald Acuna. The Acuna home run was actually a contact swing with Unfazed. So we're stacking a couple different things within the game, right? Enlarging that PCI with a contact swing, having the 2 strikes in effect, and activating that quirk. There's lots of things that I'm thinking about while this game's going on. Now, I forgot to press the button in this situation. We end up losing the lead here. We're down by a couple runs. Another tip, not necessarily a hitting tip, to get this catcher throwing meter, I'm pressing triangle as the pitch is coming in, and then you press it once again once that arrow goes into that perfect timing range. With that said, here we have Mike Trout, a 1-1 count. We're losing the game, so he has the Rally Monkey quirk activated. This pitch is, however, a changeup, and there are no quirks to hit changeups better in this game. If you notice with this slow motion feedback, I had almost like a hesitation with my PCI at the point of contact. When you move your PCI drastically to the baseball, like at the last second, when you make contact in this game, it gives you a little bit of a penalty. Now, with that said, some of those quirks will eliminate some of that penalty. It's hard to tell exactly how much, but notice how in this swing, I am almost catching the ball with the PCI. Even though my PCI is not on it entirely, I am catching the ball pixel with my bat and the PCI. It looks like in that swing animation that Chipper Jones barrels that up almost like a perfect, but it's not a perfect PCI placement. It's not perfect timing. I'm slightly out in front of it on the early side of good, and we hit the home run. A lot of times when you hit a home run in MLB The Show, the opponent will come back with a fastball, or, they might come back with a pitch in the dirt. They might think you're swinging. You can sell out for a fastball and just go for it. If they throw it, try and line it up. If you notice here, I was not on it with the PCI once again, but look at the swing path. This is another tip, right? The swing path for each player is obviously different. If we take another look at this, slow it down even a little bit more, you can see the barrel of the bat from Alfonso Soriano hit this ball pixel almost perfectly. The PCI is not on the ball perfectly, but the swing path is certainly on the ball with that swing timing on the early side of good. Now, once you do hit a couple home runs, once you score some runs or get the lead back, The pitcher's thrown 77 pitches. He's starting to get his pitch count up. The pitcher's stamina bar as well as the confidence bar will start to, drastically be affected. And they might tend to throw pitches more down the middle or hang breaking balls, throw fastballs over the middle of the plate once this happens. If you have players that have, high power, lower contact, they're going to do a little bit better in those situations. Once the opponent brings in a new pitcher, you really have to be patient, you have to be selective, and here we end up getting his confidence down as he just came into the game and gave up a solo shot to Jorge Posada. With that said, this pitcher only has, forkball, slider, fastball. For players that have both, the dead red quirk and the breaking ball quirk, like Mike Trout, these guys are going to play really well against players like Tom Hankey, Lee Smith. They don't have a changeup. They don't have a pitch that they can throw that doesn't activate those live series quirks. And with that said, I had a lot of bad at-bats in this game. I'm not playing this game perfectly. I'm not the best player, but I'm trying to help you all out in any way possible, trying to analyze these clips that I'm able to get as I'm losing every single one of these ranked seasons games that I play. But it's not even about that. I could care less if I lose to a blue screen error message each and every time. I'm trying to analyze this feedback, trying to improve within this game, and help a lot of other people, especially new players, improve in this game as well. Now, in this one, I was able to hit the up and away pitch, the fastball up and away, pretty well. I was jamming my PCI on some other pitches, but on this specific location, on this pitch, I was able to really move the PCI up there as I'm swinging and really be successful on that pitch. Now that tells me that the opponent is not likely to continue throwing those fastballs up and away, and I don't necessarily have to look for that tendency as much. And those are things I'm always looking for, right? Pitchers' tendencies, that depends on the opponent that you play. That depends on each and every scenario that you're in within a game, within a 9-inning game, right? Depending on the pitcher on the mound, depending on the hitter at the plate. A lot of people ask me, why do you sit inside? Well, I'm trying to take away the inside pitch, but I know that if the opponent's throwing outside every single time, I'm going to look to react to that location right away. Even though I'm sitting on the inside, I still might be looking for a pitch on the outer half of the plate. I have to sit inside for my personal preference in order to pull those inside pitches consistently, especially on the harder difficulties. So with that said, we ended up losing that game 8-3. We lost 34 points, but that game was on Hall of Fame difficulty, and I will be at least guaranteed to play one more game on Hall of Fame, and hopefully I can continue to stay in the 700 range. With that being said, I'm College Lefty, and hopefully I helped you out in some way with these 10 advanced hitting tips. Peace out.